Hello again, Yvette, and anyone else that is watching. In this video, I'll be covering some of the techniques used in my advent wrap pattern. This is mainly for the border stitches, as the pattern initially is just mostly garter stitch and stocking stitch. So I'm using a very chunky yarn to try and assist. I've got all the I haven't provisionally cast on the 166 stitches, but I've got enough for the border one time and a couple extra stitches. So to begin with, we're always slipping the first stitch. So we're slipping as if to purl. I'm just showing here that there is a front stitch and a back stitch. You go in front ways, or from front to back for a knit stitch, and then we bring it over the top for a purl stitch. So we're just slipping that one, so we haven't knit that first stitch. Then we're going to purl through the back leg. So I've brought that yarn to the front, and then I've found that back leg, and then I'm just purling that through. And then we're knitting. We knit 5, and actually found the chunky yarn a little bit awkward to work with. Usually it's chunky is easier for beginners because you can really see what you're doing, I guess. And then we'll be doing another purl through back loop. So bring that yarn to the front so I can purl it. Find that back leg, pull that through and off the needle. Move the yarn back so that we can knit the next 2 stitches. Then we purl 4, so this is just normal purl. Doing through the back loop, that will create a twist in the stitch. So that's just the reason for that. So then mirroring what we already did, we're doing 2 knit stitches, a purl through back loop, the 5 knit stitches, and I think I actually get lost with my counting. And so then I'm like, where am I? And you can actually read your stitches, and that's what I'm doing here because I became lost. And so I'm looking, and I can see that those 2 stitches are knit stitches there. And then I've got 4 little purl bumps here, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And so then I can ascertain that I've just done my 4 purl stitches, my 2 knit stitches, and that's the purl through back loop. So then I can continue on with my 5 knit stitches. Purl through back loop. And then you'd place your marker. It's me placing my imaginary marker. And then you'd continue on with what it says in the pattern, which I think the first one might be knit. I'd have to glance at my pattern. And then when you get to the final stitch, so in the pattern you do that purl through back loop, knit 5, etc. You'd knit your 120 stitches between the markers. You'd repeat that border pattern, and then purl that final stitch, and that's just to create this nice edging here so that you can easily pick up the stitches through that little loop, and it will curl nicely to the back side as well, so it will kind of like be hidden behind that edge twisted stitch. So I'll show you how to do the knit through back loop, because we're on that next row. So again, we're slipping that first stitch. Those are just our little pattern stitches. And now I'm up to that border pattern. So you can see how that's slightly twisted. So we've found that back loop and we've gone through that. We're knitting 5. We'll do another knit through back loop. We'll knit 2. And this is part of the cable which will end up twisting, but for now we're just going to knit our 4. So in the pattern on this row it will actually say after that knit through back loop knit 8, because you'll have those 4 in the middle and then the 2 either side of that 4. Being able to read your stitches is a very useful skill, and I find that's what I was doing quite a bit when I was doing this, because I would get lost so much with where I was up to, and then I can just take a look at my stitches and figure out where I'm up to. And I've just purled that final stitch again. So we're about to do row 3 of this border pattern, which is exactly the same as the row 1. I don't know what I was doing there. Maybe I just liked how squishy the yarn was and playing with it. So again, slipping that first one, purl through back loop, knit 5, purl through back loop, knit 2, purl 4, knit 2, purl through back loop, knit 5, purl through back loop, and then we're on to the pattern stitches, which in the pattern are quite a lot, and then that final stitch we purl. And on the 4th row of the border, we do a cable twist where we hold 2 stitches in front. And right now I'm going to demonstrate what I've been going on about with these edge stitches. So I'm just bringing in that purple, and I can just easily pick through that neat edge, put my yarn over and pick up that stitch. So you can quite easily create a nice edge off of those tidy stitches on the end there. So that's one reason why we're doing those edge stitches that way. So we're slipping, first stitch, knit through back loop, knit 5, sorry, now we're knitting 5, knit through back loop, knit 2, and now we're going to do the cable twist. So with the 4 stitches, usually you'd hold the stitches on a cable needle. When I was learning to do cables, I used to do that, but I did always find it a bit cumbersome having that extra needle there. And since then I've learnt to just do this pinch technique. So I've taken 2 stitches off, I've pinched it, I'm holding it at the front, I'm knitting 2 stitches off of that needle, and then I just replace those stitches onto that needle so I can knit those, and that creates a twist. And you can do the same if the pattern calls for holding the stitches at the back. If it's 2 or 3, you can just pinch them. And you might also think that might be alright because I'm using chunky yarn, but I also do this technique when using fingering weight yarn. And then again, row 5 is the same. I do row 5, I think, just to try and give you a better sense of that twist. I didn't continue on. The cables really come to light when you've got a few of them in a row. I think at this point I'm starting to get a bit tired and the knitting's getting a bit harder for me. And so I think a few times I have to loop it a few times before it behaves itself. It's me double checking again that I'm where I need to be because I got lost again. Check on that cable twist so I know that that's where I'm doing my purl through back loop. And final purl stitch. And so that's the border pattern just there. And that's the cable, which my shadow doesn't help the viewing, but there you go. And now I'll demonstrate doing that same cable twist with fingering weight yarn, just so you can see I'm not a liar. So those are the 2 stitches. I'm just pinching, knit 2, replace those stitches, and knit those 2. And then you've got your cute tiny little cable. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you've got enough of the techniques now to continue through the pattern and do at least section 1. Thank you.